Hello, everyone. My name is Keith George. I will be your instructor for INST 6213. And I just wanted to take a few moments to introduce myself and share a couple of thoughts as we start the term, give you a couple of tips that I think might help, and just kind of do this as a general introduction for you. So again, my name is Keith George. I have been an instructor at AUM for about 6 years, 6 or 7 years now. Um, Obviously in the College of Education, doing a lot of the instructional technology, educational technology courses, primarily 6213. So I've been teaching this course for quite a while now, and it has gone through several incarnations. And just like the classes that you teach, it has changed from semester to semester as we've adapted to include additional resources, new technologies, things like that, and probably will continue to change as we go through the following semesters as well. So my background a little bit, I was a classroom teacher for about 13 years, primarily secondary, middle school, and high school social studies, computer science, computer applications, technology-based courses. And then I spent about 12 years at the Alabama State Department of Education. I was first with the Office of Technology Initiatives, worked primarily on the ALEX project, the Alabama Learning Exchange. If you haven't already heard of ALEX, we will discuss it in the course. And then I was recruited and transferred over to AMSTI, the Alabama Math, Science, and Technology Initiative. And there I served as the digital literacy and computer science specialist. That's when I really began focusing a lot more on the elementary side of education, working a lot with the AMSTI program in all its capacities, but as I mentioned, primarily working to help teachers integrate digital literacy, computer science, and cybersecurity into the classroom. Developed a lot of resources, utilized a lot of tools, and really enjoyed that aspect of it. Following my stay at the State Department of Education, I did leave there to get closer to home, and spent about a year and a half as the district-wide STEM specialist for a large North Alabama school district. And then I retired, and it was actually kind of funny because I retired from one position and started a new position basically the next day. So now I do a lot of consulting with the National Math and Science Initiative. You'll hear me refer to them as NIMSI, and I do a lot of computer science work with them. I also work with A+ College Ready, which is a Alabama-based program that helps students and teachers work towards advanced placement classes. What I do with them primarily is I work as a facilitator for the code.org Computer Science Fundamentals course, which is a teacher professional development course for elementary teachers on how to integrate computer science into the classroom. And then I also work with Computer Science Discoveries, which is the middle school version of that as well. Again, a teacher professional development program helping teachers integrate computer science into the classroom. So a couple of things I wanted to discuss now that you kind of know a little bit about me. The first thing I want to kind of talk about is I'm just going to kind of frame this as professionalism. So as you look around the introductions that you will be doing of your classmates, you will see that we will have a combination of current practicing teachers that are coming back for either their master's or sometimes even their EDS in instructional technology. And then we will have a number of fifth year master's students that are, that have their degree in some other area and are coming back to add teacher credentials. So those fifth year students may not be practicing teachers right now, but will soon be working with students either in their internships or as they go out and look for their first position. I'm mentioning that because what I've learned over the last couple of semesters in particular is uh, I think I need to take time to remind everyone that you are going into a profession. You're not looking for a job, you're entering a profession. And by its very nature, that means that you should be professional. So as you complete assignments, complete your work, interact with one another, I want you to start practicing that professionalism that will be expected of you once you start your career. That includes everything from professional communications when you're emailing one another, or certainly when you're emailing your instructors and professors. Those emails should have a tone of professionalism. You should take a few moments to make sure that you are articulating your inquiries appropriately, that you are asking the right questions, but asking them in the right way. Remember that when you submit assignments, they should be your best work. Each and every assignment should be a demonstration of what you will be able to do as a classroom teacher. And I mention this because we have had in the past a I'm just going to be honest, a decrease in the quality of work submitted for various assignments. And I'm just taking this opportunity to remind everyone that every assignment you do will become part of your live text portfolio. It will be something that you will be able to share with potential employers. And it will certainly be something that if I am contacted for recommendations, for whether it be job recommendations or any other type of recommendation, that's certainly what I'm going to look for first is your portfolio and the quality of work that you submitted. So I'm going to strongly encourage you to think about every single assignment, uh, making sure that it is a demonstration of your best work. Now, as we go through the different assignments, the nature of this course being related to educational technology, it will incorporate the use of a lot of outside tools. And a lot of these will be tools that will not be used in most other areas of your AUM experience. And so to get you comfortable with these digital tools, I will ask you to complete various assignments using them. However, those tools are not necessarily things that are already integrated into Blackboard. Because of that, there is a very small, very easy, but often overlooked an important step that I need you to think about. And that is the idea of what we call a complete statement. And there's a whole section in the Start Now section in Blackboard that goes into this. But a complete statement is simply a note to me in Blackboard where you go to submit, where you would normally go to submit an assignment. Sometimes those assignments will be completed outside of Blackboard. In other words, you may create a Google Doc and you put a link in, and that's what you submit in Blackboard. But sometimes those things don't have a link that you would actually put in there. So I need to know that you have submitted that assignment and are ready for me to go to that other tool to assess your work. The only way I know to do that is for you to enter a complete statement. And a complete statement can be just that. It can just be the word complete. It can be, I have completed the assignment. It can be, I'm finished with this assignment. It can be, I've had students in the past that have had a little fun with it. I humbly submit this work for your assessment. Whatever you want to put, as long as it demonstrates to me and goes into the permanent record of Blackboard that you have submitted that assignment by the due date. Once I see that, that's when I will go to the other tool and assess it however is needed. In many instances, I literally cannot enter a grade in Blackboard until you have entered the complete statement, and that activates it where I can submit a grade, a score for you. So complete statements are very important. So make sure that you review that in the Start Now section, and that you are comfortable with what that is. If not, feel free to ask me a question. I'm going to go ahead and tell you somebody, more than one of you, is going to forget to do that, and I will remind you gently the first couple of times. But it really should be a one-time reminder if it's needed at all. You'd have to enter something in Blackboard for every single assignment. The next thing I'll talk about that has been consistently an issue, and in all honesty, again, is something that I've seen be getting a little bit more of a problem, or becoming more of a problem over the last several semesters. One of the ongoing assignments that you will have is you will be creating a professional blog, and you will be submitting several blog entries. In other words, instead of having you write an essay about something, you will submit a blog entry, and that will first off introduce you to the concept of blogging and how that can be incorporated into your classroom, but also is an easy way for you to kind of create a series of responses to given prompts that you can carry with you, that shows your your thoughtful and professional approach to these prompts, and provides me with, if it's done properly, provides me with evidence that you have uh, completed the requirements of particular assignments. Now, what I mean by that is these prompts will be based on the content of that particular module. So for instance, one of your first modules that you will complete is you will be introduced to a number of educational technology frameworks, as well as some educational standards. And you will be asked to reflect on how those frameworks can be, or will become, a part of your classroom toolkit. And in order to do that, you will need to very clearly articulate to me in response to the prompt that you understand what those frameworks are, and what they say and how they might be used. Now, all of this is to lead up to when you get to one of those blog post prompts. Please read the prompt carefully and completely, and most importantly, be sure that you address every aspect of it in your response. What I've seen over the last couple of semesters, several semesters, in fact, is blog post responses that are, 4 or 5 sentences, and they really don't demonstrate an understanding of the content that was discussed. So it's the equivalent of when I was in the middle school classroom and I would have long response questions, or essay response questions, if you want to call them that. And it would be asking about some topic, so like the educational technology frameworks and how you might use those in the classroom. And what I have been getting lately is a very vague: educational technology frameworks are very important. It's very important that I include these in my classes. I think it'll be very important that I do this. You haven't told me anything when you do that. Uh, I need to understand, or I need to have you demonstrate that you understand what those frameworks are and how they are important. Now, having said that, this is not a research formal paper that you're doing either. This isn't something that's going to be, in most cases, multiple pages long at all. This does not necessarily need to have, APA citations or anything like that. But I need to be able to read your blog response and be able to, after I have read it, know that you have understood the material. In an online course, we don't have the ability to just have a conversation with you and for me to, prompt you to tell me further about what you understand. And my only mechanism for you to demonstrate that understanding are the assignments that you submit. So please make sure they are complete. I shy away from having a minimum length for those assignments, although I have added something to that effect in the assignments, and yet I still have people that turn in things that are incredibly short. The reason I shy away from telling you there needs to be a certain number of words or anything like that is, as I demonstrated, you can basically use 1,000 words and not say anything, not demonstrate to me that you understand it. So almost every one of those prompts includes kind of two parts. Number one, basically tell me what you have learned, what you understand the content to be. And then the second part is for you to reflect on how you might use it in your classroom, how it might change your teaching, how you might incorporate them. And so be sure that you include both parts of that. The more that you include evidence from the content, the more I will be able to accurately assess that you understand it, but then give me real practical examples of how you intend to incorporate it into your classroom. Again, looking for something more than this is really important, I need to do this when I start teaching. That's not enough. And there are a number of these blog assignments, and they really do add up. The next thing to talk about is I mentioned the portfolio. For some reason, if students have never had to work with their live text portfolio, this seems to be quite a challenge. The first time to set it up, there is a whole section in Blackboard in the course about the final exam live text portfolio, because that portfolio is what goes for your final exam. You don't have a written exam. It is your portfolio that counts as your exam for this course. But because of those problems, in just a couple of weeks, we will have a live text portfolio check where I will ask you to go through all of the motions of submitting your newly created live text portfolio page for INST 6213. You will do that in response to an assignment that will be in live text that you will see there, and you will submit it according to the instructions provided in Blackboard. This is not just sharing a live text document. If you've been asked to do that in other courses, this is different. You will actually submit this as an assignment. And the reason I have you do that, kind of at a midway point, is to make sure that you can do it at the end of the term when that is serving as your final exam. And honestly, we're under pressure to get grades submitted. And if you have not submitted that correctly, and I have to keep returning that to you in order for you to do correctly, to get submitted, it causes issues with getting grades submitted on time. So you will do a kind of a portfolio check early in the semester to ensure that you've gone through the motions of submitting that and that you've set it up correctly. Remember that you're setting up a page in your existing portfolio if you've had to do this for other courses, or if this is the first time you've been asked to do anything in live text, it will be a little bit more for you because you'll have to go through the full setup. But you will be using this portfolio in a number of classes by the end of your time at AUM. So it's not something that will be just for this course. But please make sure that you read those instructions carefully. There are step-by-step videos that tell you exactly what sections you will need on the one page that you do. Remember, you're not doing a separate portfolio just for this course. You have one AUM portfolio that contains multiple pages. And on the instructional, on the INST 6213 page, there are 5 sections that you will include. So please just take some time and review those instructions carefully as you go through the motions to set those up. Finally, there are a number of assignments that seem on the face of them to be quite long and time consuming, but they are incredibly valuable, and they are, in a sense, not difficult. You will be challenged to earn a number of uh, outside, widely recognized certificates and badges that will help you in your career. You will use and take a number of um, kind of mini courses, sort of professional development activities with, widely recognized groups, Common Sense Media, Microsoft. Um, a number of those will be things that you would want to include on a resume moving forward. So they are incredibly valuable. But because of those time constraints, and because of the knowledge that I have that many of you are teaching, and probably have selected an online course for some of that flexibility, I have decided after much deliberation that I am going to open many of these assignments early so that you can explore some of those that might take a little bit more time and have some more time to work on them, instead of it just being, the week and a half that we would normally have for a module. Now, having said that, I will not be scoring these assignments early if you do submit them early. I will begin assessing them at the same time that I would normally be assessing them. So that does create the possibility that you work on something and you submit it because it fit into your schedule a little bit better, and it's still 2 weeks before it's time for me to assess that. And then when I do assess it with the rest of them, the possibility exists that we then discover that you weren't on the right track and that you have not completed the assignment as it was intended. And that might cause you to have to do some, in a sense, some extra work, or some work much later from when you originally did it. That is just a risk that we will have to accept. Now, I'm more than willing to answer any questions you have about any assignment throughout the term, and I will answer questions, specific questions, at any point that you send them. When you send those questions, please give me specific questions. If you are in the classroom, you will understand what I'm about to say. If you're not in the classroom, you soon will. Questions such as, or emails that are basically, I don't know what to do. When I get that email, I don't know what to do with that email either. I don't know how to help you when you say, I don't know what to do. When you tell me what you've read in the instructions and you tell me that you interpret it to mean that you are to do XYZ, I can tell you if that is correct or incorrect. I can give you some examples if you have specific questions. The point of this is to, again, ask specific questions. Don't just tell me, you're lost, you don't know what to do. We are adults moving into a professional career, and we probably have a better understanding than just saying I'm lost. And give me something to help you with, as opposed to, in essence, making me guess what is wrong. So checking over my list here, I think that will do it for now. Again, I will remind you that I am an adjunct instructor, so I do not have a on-campus location. Because of that, I am available by email. Of course, we can always schedule a live video conference if you feel more comfortable with that and would like to ask more specific questions. And of course, I even on the syllabus, I even include my phone number. Obviously, I have a lot of projects going on. So your best option, if you feel like you need something immediately, is to send me a text message at the phone number in the syllabus. Be sure to include your name so I know who I'm speaking to, and give me a quick heads up of what kind of issue you're having, what question you have, and if you would like to arrange a phone call or a video conference, some beginnings of trying to schedule that. I'm not available 24/7 by any means, as I wouldn't expect you to be. So you will need to kind of try to touch base with me, and we can work out a time when we can do that meeting, either by phone or video conference. But I am quite flexible. I will be able to help you if it fits better for a daytime call. I can work that out. If the evening is better for you, in most instances, I'll be able to work that out within a day or two as well. And all of that will kind of lead into one of the important things in the syllabus is please do not wait till an assignment is due to discover that you have questions. It is very frustrating for all of your instructors, all of your professors, for it to be a couple of hours before the due date and time of an assignment to get an email from a student that is unable to complete the assignment because they feel like they don't understand it. They have multiple questions, because we're not always available to answer that email immediately. And there, that just kind of puts you, behind the eight ball as far as there's not going to be time for us to give you the help that you need and still do that assignment on time. And that's all because you waited until the assignment was due before you complete it. Now, I have no problem with assignments being submitted, right before they're due. But I'm going to strongly encourage you that you should look at your assignments well in advance of the due date and time. Be sure you understand them, that you know what you're going to have to do, that you don't have any questions. And then if you decide to complete it early at that point, great. If you then decide that, okay, I understand what I have to do, I'm confident with it, I can wait until, a couple of hours before this is due before I submit it. If you're comfortable with that, that's fine. But I'm just going to be honest with you. It's very disrespectful for students to get upset that they don't get feedback or help on an assignment when they don't ask for that help until just a couple of hours before. So you'll see in the syllabus that questions need to be submitted to me about an assignment at least 48 hours in advance of the due date. Anytime within inside that window, I might be able to get back with you in time. I might not. But you having questions about an assignment and not getting a response from me when you don't ask for help until that 48-hour window, if that assignment ends up being late or submitted incorrectly, that's not on me. That's on you for not preparing ahead of time and making sure that you had all the information you needed to complete the assignment and submit it on time. Okay, I am looking forward to a great semester. One of the things I do try to do with the course is to make sure that all of the things we do will be valuable to you. And that's why I incorporate a lot of mainstream digital tools and things that you can use. When you do your assignments, I strongly encourage you to select topics and activities that you will be able to either immediately apply in your classroom if you're in the classroom now, or things that come from the content area that you intend to be teaching or hope to be teaching once you get your first position. So I want these things to be valuable to you. I want you to create things that you will be able to use, and not just, I don't want to give you topics that you have to create things about because you may never use them then. So please try to think of every assignment as getting a head start on something that you're going to use in your classroom. That way it is twice as valuable to you, once for the purposes of this course, and then once for a resource that you will be able to use in the future. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. My email is in the syllabus, and I look forward to going through the introductions and seeing your Flipgrid introductions so that I can get to know you better. Thanks so much.